Welcome to another episode of the Ball Habatim. We just come off a wonderful, glorious, amazing victory over CMFV. I am one half of the Bandwagon Boys, and joining me is my other half, my twin, the maestro of Twitter himself, Simi Cohen, on camera. The Bandwagon Boys are in effect, and joining us as well is the man, the myth, the legend, Ariel himself, on screen, killing it. We also got off screen the OG, the grizzled vet, the unbelievable Nathan Cohen, also live at the MSAC tonight. And finally, joining us is the Jack Attack is back. Jack, it is Jack Jakob Sachs, off camera, but joining us here to bring his wisdom to the stage. Gentlemen, what an unbelievable victory. This is amazing. And with Farmingdale going down tonight, we also get, bam, another home game. So let's kick it off. Simi, how are we feeling after this victory tonight?
It was a great game. Feeling good. Love that they're going to be home again. I thought they played a pretty crisp game overall. I mean, you know, Terrell had 34 points. He went absolutely off in the first half. That was pretty cool to watch, and he was fired up again, so we got to see that. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. What'd you guys think?
I'll tell you, and I want to hear from Nathan because, you know, we both were able to be there at the MSAC, but watching that first half was something special. I mean, Ryan he couldn't miss. You shoot it from everywhere on the floor, and you could see just like body language on the other guys. Just, I mean, the air went out of them. Like, you could see them deflate. It was pretty masterful to watch. I mean, it was just an incredible performance all around. And even with, I think Eitan got a little thrown off on contact early in the beginning.
What up?
Oh, Nathan's back, baby.
You guys a shout out.
Oh, okay. Whatever I'm saying is not as important. The man that we have on the screen, we have two big celebrities in the Ball Habatim. We got the man, the myth, legend, John Terrell himself.
I saw that. No, I want to talk, please. Have a good Shabbos. The show already happened. We're good. Want to say hi?
Hey, we got two Terrell boys now on the Ball Habatim.
That's it. The Terrells are taking over the Ball Habatim. That's unbelievable. Let's make it
Terrells on
happen.
both sides.
How we doing? We got two
Terrells.
Terrells.
We got two Terrells.
Yeah, comment on it or what?
I hope so.
Oh, is he
I
on?
hope so. He knows that you're on. We got two Terrells. It's like
Listen,
two birds. Is that what we got? Like, Jack, what's got Galifianakis going on here?
I got to talk louder. They can't hear.
All right, Jack, here's what I want. The Ball Habatim are going to be clearing out for the Terrells. So, Jack, give us the hot analysis. Let's go.
Listen, I got two words for you. One word, 3 syllables, championship. This team is kicking Tochus in this conference. I remember 2 years ago, the semifinal game had my heart pumping like I was watching a horror movie. I mean, it went down to the wire. We beat this team by 40. Is this a semifinal or a preseason exhibition? This team is clicking on all cylinders. And I'll repeat what I said last week. Finally, Ryan Terrell is playing with the passion of a superstar. He looked like he took Philip Hode not going to YU and going to St. Vincent instead personally. And dropped the best first half that I've seen him play in his entire career. And finally, I can't wait to see what he's going to bring to the table. Forget about the walkthrough. I mean, last time we played Manhattanville, it was 51 points. This one, it's going to be a win by 51 points. This team's on a mission. They're finally clicking on all cylinders. Steinmetz has shortened the rotation to his 8 guys. He finally got it right. Armstrong off the bench. He knows his role. He doesn't have to feel nervous about Zucker taking his spot. Zucker is a starter, always gives production, brings that strength, and they're just clicking right now. Ofek, look, welcome back to the team, Ofek. After that, he seemed a little out of shape after his bout with, I don't know if it was COVID or the flu, but he looked great. And this team, and all I've got to say is next stop, tournament, right? Next stop, March Madness, because this team right now is looking like they got a serious shot if they could play the offense like they played it tonight. They were setting great screens. They were getting the balls to the guy in the right spot. And Ryan is playing with the mentality that a superstar needs, which is, I am willing this, I am the man, and I am going to hit these shots. And it's playing like what you would expect an NBA player to play at this level. Now, let's see him bring. Now, I want to see him bring that, and he will bring that to the NCAA tournament. I'm excited.
I mean,
Love it.
Guys, jump in. We got to take advantage of the man, the myth here. What do we got for Jack?
That was awesome analysis. I love everything you said. I think like Terrell, Ryan, like your brother, is playing with such a fire, and I thought you were going to go with his body language when you started talking about body language, because he just looks like he wants to score. He wants the ball, and he wants to like make it happen. And I think like you need that from him. And he's just such a pleasure to watch. Ofek, you pointed out, like showing life. There's been so many good signs, like Armstrong these past couple of games. He's really settling into his role and asserting himself. He did not play a lot of minutes last game. This game, he played 16 minutes. He had 13 points and 8 rebounds in 16 minutes. I don't think that's like a really good game for him. And that's a couple of games in a row where you're seeing that from Armstrong now.
Just talking about Armstrong.
What's up, post-game show?
Yeah.
All right, go on. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
Jordan.
I'm kind of just repeating. I mean, I think they're clicking really well. There's not much to really nitpick on in terms of like how the team is playing. I think you're seeing this production from a bunch of different players, and guys are really finding their spot.
Yeah, I think they're
Jack, I got a question for you. You're with Jordan Armstrong. Is he turning green and ripping off his clothes and muscles? Are we getting the Hulk here? Let's go, baby. Let's go.
He definitely looks incredible. More stretched, more Elastaman than he is Incredible Hulk, but he's definitely playing incredible. He like we said earlier when he had that great game the other day, the welcome to YU Jordan Armstrong. I like him. He's much more comfortable now in the bench role. I feel like before there was a weird dynamic. Personally, I don't know any behind the scenes stuff. I'm not, my ear's not to the thing, but what I witnessed, it's pure witness. It seemed like a weird dynamic with Zucker coming in and, going, he's an alpha. Zucker's an alpha. And he coming after his minutes. Now with the switch, Zucker could be alpha himself, and Armstrong could just take his breath and go, all right, let me be 6'8". Let me block shots. Let me try to dunk it instead of fake and get the foul. And he's doing what this team doesn't have and never had, which is someone bigger than Gabe who could get rebounds, block shots, and add that extra size. We could have a lineup in Division III with 6'8", 6'6", 6'4", 6'2", and Eitan at 5'10", but still, it's a gigantic lineup. And lastly, I really like how Batesh has been playing. I know that he's a favorite of many of the members of the Ball Habatim. It's not necessarily exactly. It's not necessarily the threes that he hits, because he could hit. He's a straight shooter. He's proven himself to be a shooter. The other teams know it. The threat of him out there forces teams to now have to guard him. And when that happens, you have opened up lanes for Ryan, which wasn't happening before when they decided, all right, well, we know Ofek. We'll live with Ofek shooting, even though he's a good shooter. Well, teams aren't doubling. Now they have to go out to Batesh because the threat of his jump shot is so valuable and can hurt a team. Now Ryan can get to where he wants. Gabe can get to where he wants. Zucker gets where he wants. I love it.
Yeah, that's exactly what Batesh I think brings. Even if he didn't hit it, he didn't score any points today, but I think he opened the offense for everyone. If he's on the 3-point line, like you said, he needs someone that's going to have to guard him. That's going to create lanes for everyone else. That's going to give Gabe more room on the high post, and it just opens everything up. So yeah, it's huge. Even huge being out there. He played 60 minutes today. I think he's just going to bring. If we're going to make a deep run, I think him getting minutes is going to be a big part of that. I think
this team wins a championship, and they win a national championship on with one thing and one thing only, and that's, we hit our offense, we hit our open threes, we play defense, but like, how good is Ryan going to be? Is Ryan going to shoot 15 shots versus Lambesis? And sure, he had a fine game, in terms of 20 points, 25 points on 60% shooting. Fine. But is he going to be the man who grabs this team and puts this team over the top? And I like the energy and the passion that he's been playing with. When you watch stuff like The Last Dance, guys are being mugged by Ryan Poker. When you watch stuff like The Last Dance, that's all the greats have that energy. And if he brings that, that's going to be the thing that this team. What makes us special is number 11 and the ability of the guys around him. So if Ryan brings that energy, hey, Ryan Boker.
I think definitely the best part of Ryan today is that it wasn't like he was just like creating the offense all himself. They were getting him in the spots. He was catching it. He was shooting it. It wasn't like he was forcing it. It was everything was running smoothly, and it just happened to be he was in the right spot. Not just happened to be. I'm sure that was intentional. So I think that was the best part. It was 34 points, but it wasn't like
I think you're right, Ariel. Yeah, one of those things. I think when you feel that game, and he was listening, his eyes, and Jack said it all, and he was into that game. His eyes said it all, but it was an easy 34 points. I mean, it was like again, you bring up the IW game. That was a tough. Like every work for every 22 points. This was in the game so much space on those threes. A lot of times it wasn't even on a pick or rotation. He was just there. But it was because they were working the ball around and they found him. For the most part tonight, and I think we talked about this a little bit. You guys may have talked about this. I apologize. It was pretty loud in here. But again, seeing guys play their role, seeing guys play the shots that they know they can hit for the most part, I would say, right? And sticking to that, not really going outside of what they do. Again, beautiful rhythm. I'd love to see after this game what that, offensive efficiency was, because I think the offense was really, really staying within their game.
By the way, I want to shout out one thing, which was, tonight I was there with my daughter, and I was at the last game with my older daughter. But we sat kind of across. We sat on the other side. Tonight, I sat on the same side as Mama Terrell, and I want to shout her out specifically. We all know that, she gets the crowd amped up. We all know she does, when I say go, when I say go, you say Max, go Max. But I heard her say something tonight. I'm pretty sure I heard it right. And it jives with what I know about her. And that is, she was just as fired up when YU Max players were acting like menches as she was when Ryan was hitting threes. And I specifically want to shout out Mama Terrell for just setting the tone for how our fans behave. She was so fired up when our players acted like good guys with Derek Harris. Like, it just was awesome. It was just such a cool thing to see.
Ari, that's a perfect segue.
She's an old Southern mama. Those are some old Alabaman manners and mannerisms taught in Dog Ridge Community, Texas. That's old school.
I love it.
Perfect segue. I have with me one of the best benches that we have at YU, Menachem Aaron.
Oh, baby. Oh, did we lose Nathan? Oh, no.
I think we just lost him.
We just lost them.
Big cliffhanger. He's coming back.
Oh, here comes Nathan back. Let's bring on the celebrity guest. I love it.
Sorry about that, guys. I wanted to share, give you a spotlight to one of our mentions here, Menachem Aaron, who people know from the team. They see him on the sideline. What do you want to say to that?
Everyone's great fans. Just keep cheering on Yeshiva.
Yeshiva? You think we're going to win on Sunday?
You bet we will win on Sunday.
Win on Sunday. You heard it here first. We got this win. Have a good Shabbos.
Have an amazing Shabbos. Let's go, Max, and enjoy the rest of the season, hopefully.
Awesome. Thank you. We'll see you on Sunday.
The Ball Habatim love Menachem. Thank you for coming on. That's amazing. Oh, unbelievable. And I gotta say, getting back to the X's and O's, one of the amazing things we saw tonight was actually, again, I don't have the stats in front of me, obviously, but one thing that I noticed was it wasn't just Gabe with some great passes. Like Jordan had some nice passes. Ofek had some nice passes. Everyone was getting in on the assist game. It felt like the old Max offense, which we know and love. It was a great thing to see. I felt like the assists were spread out more evenly than I remember, although, again, I don't have the stats in front of me, but it felt that way on the floor. And welcome, Sarit, to the Ball Habatim.
Yeah, I
No,
have
I
the
think
stats. They had Gabe had 10 assists. They had a few guys with 3, a few guys with 2. I think you're right. They were just like really, for the most part, in rhythm, guys sticking to their roles, guys knowing where to be. The right guys were cutting to the hoop. Previous games, sometimes Zucker's trying to cut to the hoop when he gets the ball from like the half court line, or Adi Markovic is shooting threes, or like you see certain things that are like, that's not the right guy for that kind of play. That's not the highest, percentage kind of look. Tonight felt like they were in the right place, playing with confidence, moving the ball around for the most part. I think they had like a little bit of trouble with the press early in the second half. I thought that scares me a little bit. I know we've like kind of talked about the press before. I don't know. Sometimes we just like make bad decisions. Like we don't help. Like Natan, I don't know if you could hear, you're around, but you mentioned that I think it was in the WhatsApp chat, that they break the press by passing more so than by like physically running through it. And I think when you do that, you need to kind of help each other out and like come up to the ball sometimes. I don't know if this is just me noticing this, but I feel like sometimes they don't do that. And the guys, whether it's Jordan or someone's like stranded with 2 guys on them and no one's coming to help them, and they throw the ball away or something. So little things like that, I hope, maybe we can tweak, maybe we can work on. I don't know what you guys think about that. But overall, I thought, listen, offensively, they're clicking. And there's little tweaks that they could do. They're rebounding, they need to continue to work on. They won the rebounding tonight. That I had it before. What was it?
it was 47-35. Yeah.
They were really boxing out. I mean, listen, I ended up sitting right under the basket on the YU bench side, and they were really intensely putting bodies, even the guards coming down.
And I think they listen, all these guys that know about our show, you're seeing that, and that's all we've been talking about. And I think they're aware of it. And like they mentioned, they're aware of it anyway, because that was the biggest problem in the IWU game. And I think they've made a conscious effort to work on it. And I think we're seeing that bear fruit. That's great. Like they get props, like Armstrong in particular, but all of them really seem to be like asserting themselves more inside. Gabe the past couple of games, a little less so tonight. He was like a little more pass first tonight than he has been the past couple of games. So the dude had a triple double. He had a great game. It's fine. But like overall, he's been more assertive. Jordan has been, and you're seeing it. You said, Nate, like you think they're boxing out. I think that's good. That's huge, because they're going to have to continue to do that, obviously, if they want any chance.
If there was anything that didn't, I think you hit on it, Simi, but it was just interesting. I'm not sure if you guys saw the same thing. The press didn't bother them,
and we're
right?
back.
In terms of the press, but we got to the point where it wasn't the press, it was the double once they crossed half court that just sped them up. And we had a good 3-minute stretch there where we were just moving faster. Let's say hi to the pod.
We love the love. We love the love.
T-Neck representing. We got Yalkutz and Schnecks.
Hi,
everyone.
No sleep till T-Neck, baby. No sleep till T-Neck.
We got Ari. We got Ariel.
Do we have the quill? Where's
No,
the quill?
the Q only championship. Telling you guys.
By the way, shouts to Bob Quillman. Bob, feel the love. We love you. Amazing.
It's fun out here, but I think that's where.
By the way, Natan, just to hop in on the Bob Quillman thing. So Daniel Gibber, former coach of the MTA Lions, was at the game. He pointed up to Bob's seat at the IWU game, and we were texting. We said Zecher LeBob.
It's Kisei Sheliyahu right now.
Exactly.
I call it Bob. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Nathan. Go ahead.
No, not at all. But I think it's interesting to see if teams try to speed them up, because when they got sped up, they actually looked a little bit frazzled. That's when we saw a little bit of the push. They got sped up. It wasn't the press in terms of turning it over. They sped up. They took shots early. It was guys taking shots from 3 when they had a 24, 25-point lead. And I think they cut it, if I'm not wrong, I think they cut it down to 17, 18 before they slowed down and started going back inside. So it's just something to see. That was the only thing I really saw jump out tonight as something to be prepared for. Manhattan, again, is going to play really tough on D. It's going to be great to see.
So looking ahead, by the way, we got to talk more about this game, obviously, but big news came around halftime that Farmingdale went down, which means to Manhattanville, if I'm not mistaken, which means that the Macs now get to host on Sunday the Skyline Conference Championship, as it always should have been. Listen, it was ours to lose. But now, looking ahead again to a Manhattanville team that, as the man, the myth, the legend, Jack Terrell said earlier, is the team that Ryan went off against for 51 points. So what I would love to see is a much more balanced attack against that team. I mean, it's not sustainable, obviously, if we want to make a deep run of any sort, to just rely on Ryan to go crazy. And the great thing was, you've seen tonight not only the increased confidence that our players have, not only the personal gelling that Jack was talking about with Jordan, Matan, and with the other players, but you also saw, I think, it's just an incredibly well-coached game down the stretch from Coach Steinmetz. The lineups that he was using just all made sense to me the entire game. I mean, he was playing a lot of that small ball lineup that we love with Gabe and 4 smaller guys. He never had more that I remember, than 2 big men on the court at once. And Jordan is much more fluid in the offensive attack than he has been in the beginning of the season. He's rotating out much better. His court vision has gotten really good. You could just tell he's gotten much more confident. And I think that as we go into Manhattanville, I think it's fair for us to expect, a bunch of guys to go off, not just Ryan.
Yeah, I love what you giving credit to Steinmetz, because I see that too. I think, we talk about teams get better as the season goes on, and then you hope to peak in March, not in November. Like, and early in the season, we're saying things like that. And I think one of the ways that manifests is on the coaching side, is it really seems like, at least, and now we're watching. So we as watching every single game, we're seeing who starts, then we're seeing who gets rotated in. And you could almost predict who's going to kind of come in and the flow of the game. Whereas before, it may have been a lot more unpredictable. They're kind of still figuring things out, still experimenting with different combinations and different lineups. Now there's different looks that Steinmetz puts out. They're very intentional. They're responsive to what's on the court, and it seems to work. So he should definitely get a lot of credit for that. And I think that's an example of the team gelling, right? Not so much necessarily the players themselves improving their performance, which, although we have seen that, especially in the individual cases we keep talking about, it's also the combination of the players, and that leads to appearing that they're playing much more fluidly and all that. A lot of that is just credit to the type of combinations that are on the court. I think that there's been a lot of improvement in that regard over the past few games.
And look,
and
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, on the Manhattanville point, I think something we might have forgotten. I think Jay, the chat, just pointed out. I was also thinking the same thing, that we were missing Eitan and Ethan that game, which that's a
good point.
That's definitely that changes things. They really they shut down pretty much everyone. It was except Ryan that game, and he just went off. Obviously, remember, but I think now that we're really Gabe only scored 3 points that game. Now that he's becoming more assertive, and we're gonna have Eitan healthy last go, I think that's something that will definitely help us. I saw Manhattanville. I was trying to watch both games. It wasn't so easy, but it looked like a really great game. Manhattanville really fought till the end, but and they came through it towards the end of the game. But it'll definitely be a tough game. But if we're clicking like this, it's no matter what you do, it's just hard to when you have so many weapons and everyone's in the right spot at the right time. It's just hard to stop you.
Yeah, I like to believe we're a better team now than we were on November 28th, which is when they played that game. And
I heard from Coach Joe that Gabe was actually sick that game. So no, yeah, Lasco and Eitan was hurt now. Also, Gabe not at his best. So I completely agree with you guys.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the box score from that game. Adi played 28 minutes. That's not something we're usually expecting. He's great at defense. He's not going to create offense as much as other guys that we're talking about. So things like that, we're gonna look better, I think. But they also looked really good. I saw them versus Farmingdale. They were really tough defensively. They were moving the ball around well. They don't have one guy you could just focus on. They have so many guys who could put up double digits. It seems like every night it's a different person who's putting up big points for them. So they're going to be a tough matchup. But if we're clicking like we are doing offensively, like we've been doing the last few games, if we're playing defense like we played tonight, we're just sticking to our guy, not trying to be too much, playing tough on the ball, then we're the better team. I think everyone would agree with that.
Natan, we got a question in the chat for you. They want to know how is Golan, and I want to know if Popper's paid up his debt to you or not. But I guess now that we still have Sunday, where you guys are going to both potentially be in the Heights, that could wait a couple more days. Natan's tuned out.
He's probably eating.
The shawarma's
right
too
now.
good. The shawarma's too good.
Yeah.
The shawarma's too good.
Oh, he's
By the way,
up
now the burgers are
Oh
good.
boy,
Oh my
boy, oh
God.
boy. Now I want to. By the way, I want to shout out specifically Ethan Lasco. Played 13 minutes. It was a relatively quiet Ethan Lasco game, and again, this was only the second time I've seen him play in person. He is. It doesn't come through, at least for me. It doesn't come through as much on the broadcast as it does live. He is such a physical player. He is. I mean, there was one sequence. I can't remember if it was in the first half or the second. There was one sequence where just a loose ball. And he dives.
Yeah.
He dove
like a football play. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
it was like exactly.
Half,
You
Exactly.
love to see that.
Oh, it was unreal. It was like a cornerback. He took like a 5-foot dive across the floor. Great defense. He had and again, like he picks his spots. Like he's so value added in that respect because he can score, he can shoot, but he doesn't need to have the ball. And I think it was early. I think it was pretty early on. He had a great three that just gave them some really great momentum. Like Lasco was one of those players who it doesn't come through as much in the box score, but he was so value added tonight.
Yeah, he takes care of the ball. You know, he draws charges. He's all over the place. All the guys were. I thought Ryan dove on Ryan and Gabe, I think.
Yeah,
Definitely
Ryan also got on the floor for sure.
was on the
and
floor.
Gabe.
A few times, yeah.
So you love to see that. But no, for sure, I agree with you on Lasco, and he's going to be really important to fill in a bunch of minutes where you need a good defender and someone who can take care of the ball. And he's got a lot of strengths. He continues to shoot, which I like because he's a good shooter, supposedly in his history, and we have not seen that this year. He's shooting 29% from three, but he went 1 for 5 tonight. If he's open, he's shooting it. Hopefully, when they start counting more and more, they'll start going in. He's getting the occasional look, and he's not afraid to shoot it. I almost wish sometimes Batesh would have that confidence. At least tonight, a couple other guys it seemed like Gabe tonight had a couple of wide open threes that he didn't take, didn't even think about it. I don't know if you guys saw a couple of those plays. He was standing. One of them, he was standing there for 5 seconds, no one was near him.
Yeah, so yeah,
everyone's screaming shoot, and he's looking for a pass. Lasco would shoot that. And that's good. That you want that. If it's a good shot, take it. Just trust the process. It doesn't have to go in every single time. So he's bought into that. I'm not worried about him. We want to see a little bit of that from the other guys, but no, love him. He's got a bunch of great positive qualities that the team needs.
By the way, quick shouts to Mayor Wiesel, the mighty Mayor Wiesel on the ones and twos. Ellie Burnett in the chat points out that the Ball Habatim just officially crossed 100 subscribers on YouTube. Shouts to us and shouts to Mayor because Mayor's the man. Anyway, sorry, Ariel, go ahead.
I think Lasco also, the other thing, everyone was talking at the beginning of the season, he brings intensity, especially on the defense. And we saw that in the Illinois Wesleyan game where he was the only one. It was totally playing up to their level. And then I think now we don't have any intensity problems. That's not something we've seen. We've definitely been lost on defense sometimes, some games, and St. Joe's Long Island game, and we've definitely had our problems, but it wasn't intensity. It wasn't we weren't ready for the game and bringing. You can't say we're not playing intense, especially now Ryan's playing. We've mentioned this. Ryan's just bringing that fire. I think it came from Lasco. Lasco was that role model who really, if everyone else fed off of him.
I think that's a great point. They're focused. They're playing loose but focused. You're not seeing some of those mental toughness things and the whining, and you're not seeing that as much. Maybe that's just a function of them getting off the better starts or not stumbling as much. But no, you're definitely he's a leadership factor. They look up to him. He has got D1 history, and that I think that carries weight with the guys too.
And one thing I was curious about, guys. The one again, this is total concern trolling at this point, but one guy we did not see tonight, and I was surprised at how little we saw him, was Adi. And I thought he played pretty well in the last game. I was surprised we didn't see him now. One of the things that I think was great for Batesh down the stretch was just Elliott getting him minutes and having him kind of like shoot himself into shape, as we saw. And I think, as many minutes as we can get, if it's not going to cost us a game, as many minutes as we can get now for the Adis and the Bateshes, just so that we can go deep if we need to, I think is important. So I was surprised we didn't see Adi till the very end, but he got 4 minutes, at least that. But I was a little bit surprised about that. What'd you guys make of that?
That was surprising. Yeah, that was surprising. I think it could just be Elliott didn't think we needed him. This wasn't the game for him. I think Elliott's. We something we noticed. He plays to the opponent, which is what you should do. It's all that matchups. I think we were playing pretty well defensively. We did Adi brings that defense. He's really great at defense. That's his specialty. And maybe we just didn't need it tonight. Batesh was playing well defensively. Everyone else is playing also defensively. We didn't necessarily need him in that spot, and everyone has their role in the team. If we didn't need that role, then it didn't make sense to go to him.
If you look at the guys that got more minutes than him, that's the name that you wouldn't have seen earlier in the year. You would have seen Adi getting 16 minutes and Batesh getting 4, not the other way around.
Right.
So that's interesting. It could be recent trends of the past couple of games. I mean, Batesh is playing more recently than he has been. He's become a more important part of the team. Not to say that Adi isn't as important, but it's a good thing, I guess. They're deeper now, and depending on the look they want, like you said, you want another shooter or do you want more help defensively? They now have some choices.
Our guards also did not get in foul trouble tonight. We've seen that in the past where you had 2 fouls early, and then you have to buy minutes with someone.
Yeah, it's a great point.
We barely fouled at all in the first half.
Yeah, and by the way, in the chat, Yoshua Ko makes the point we were talking about earlier. Just and it's worth repeating. Thanks, Yoshua. I mean, shouts to Coach Steinmetz. Just coached a great game. Great lineups, as you guys were just talking about. Great lineups. It was all the stuff that we like to see. None of the kind of weird mad scientist experiments that we saw, in the second half of the season. Coach Steinmetz is focused. He's got these guys running on all cylinders. It's just a thing of beauty. It's great to see.
And it could just be for those experiments that that was the point of it. It was experiments to see what worked.
Right.
He saw it worked, and now he's using those best lineups. He's not experimenting as much. So it could just be maybe he was probably smart what he was doing before also to help us get to this point, because this is where it really matters.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, and we'll see if and now that makes you think hey, all these other teams are probably going through similar stuff. Manhattanville might look different than the last time we played them too. Right. And they beat Farmingdale, and Farmingdale beat us. And those are good teams. We can't just overlook them. So it's gonna be a good game Sunday.
Oh yeah. So as we kind of look ahead to Sunday, so I'll tell you, and again, concern trolling to the max here again. My biggest fear is that I think the only way that Manhattanville could take us down, they don't have the skill to take us down. They don't have the height. They don't have the talent. What will take us down if we go down is just looking past this game. My biggest fear is that our head is already in the NCAA tournament. And again, it's total concern trolling. I know we should beat this Manhattanville team, but honestly, my biggest fear is that we're going to look past it. It's my biggest fear, which is why it was great. I know in our, some of our discussions off the YouTube channel, I think it was you, Simi, who pointed out that Gabe's postgame in the last game was just exactly what you wanted to hear. Next game starts tonight, and we're not looking past any teams. I think that's the kind of leadership we need, is what Gabe's bringing.
Absolutely.
I think it's actually pretty crazy, because you said at the beginning of the year, well, we'll be in the Skyline finals at home. You would say, of course, and we might have a 62-game winning streak at this point. But the way that this week has unfolded, and the fact that these games are played so close together, and we were only supposed to be home for 1, and then now we're home for 2, and now we're home for 3, I think the momentum is just that the team is really playing strong and not letting it down. They know that they're sort of lucky to be at home. There's no overlooking anyone. I mean, we just won a semifinals game by 40 points. It doesn't matter who we're playing. That's still a ridiculous outcome. And I think you saw that from Ryan in the first half, where usually Ryan's a second half guy. We've seen this season. He came out firing. He was on fire, and we put him down. And that's, I think, because of the way that's unfolded and the way the week has gone, I think, I'm not jinxing it, but I think we can look forward to a similar thing on Sunday.
Yeah, I think what Jay said in the chat was also, he's reading my mind all night tonight. Gabe, Eitan, Ryan,
Yeah,
they're not going to let. They're not.
Shouts to Jay. Shouts to Jay.
They're not going to let. They're not going to let this be the last. Like, they're going to be all in. They're not going to look past Manhattanville. They know Manhattanville is a good team. They really put up a tough fight the last time we played them. They're better. We're better also, but they're better. They're really well coached. I don't know if you remember, like, one of the things we were saying, people were saying during that game, they scouted us really well. I think Jack was saying that on the broadcast. They really brought a good scout. They knew what we wanted to do, and they were taking it away. They took away Gabe. I guess he was sick also. I just heard that for the first time, but Gabe was sick, but he couldn't do what he wanted to do. We're getting the right spots, and really just Ryan had to score 51 points. We can't let that happen. I don't think we will, but they're a good team. I saw them tonight against Farmingdale. They were playing really tough defensively, really moving the ball well. They have so many guys who could shoot. Their highest scores 12 points. So the fact that they got this point with that, they have like so many guys who just put up numbers any night, given night. Someone else will step up, and they're a good team.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Look, I think the Admar himself, just in time for the wrap up. The Admar of analytics, aka the sage on the stage. Shua Cohn is here. Shua. By the way, as they say on, as my favorite comedian Scott Aukerman always says on Comedy Bang Bang, and 10 more minutes. Let's go, Shua. I mean, we're right at the wrap up.
Who's your favorite comedian?
Scott Aukerman. No one listens to Comedy Bang Bang. I feel like they're guys in the base who are Comedy Bang Bang guys. Anyway, Shua, as we're about to wrap up, what'd you see tonight? What do you got? Give us some analytical chizuk on the way out.
No, I mean, I thought why you game plan was great. I thought we game planned for the opponent, which is obviously great to see. I think I saw part of the show while I was on the call, but you guys covered a vast majority of what I would have had to say. So you guys have done a great job. There's not that much I have to add. Like I posted in the comments, I love the rotation usage. It seems to be that Elliott has a very good handle on what guys to put in what spots when necessary. Like we thought small ball wasn't such a great option in this one because we kept getting beaten off the dribble into the paint, and that allowed for a lot of easy layups. Guys lost their men off ball. So he brought back in Jordan in the second half. He brought in Mount, and that kind of shut that down. So just love the rotation usage. There was somewhat low turnover, which we kind of discussed in the pregame was necessary. We didn't send them to the line, which we know they don't go to the line very often. But we kept them offline, and we went to the line a lot ourselves and shot our free throws. And obviously, of course, there was the Ryan in the first half, which just kind of ended the game all on its own. So those are kind of my points, and I'm really looking forward to having Sunday at home against the Manhattanville team that we beat by 20 earlier in the season.
Could not have said it better myself, guys. It was
I got two things for you, Ari. Two things.
Let's do it, Nathan. Let's do it.
Bring
us home, Rebbe. Bring us home.
I'm bringing Acharon Chaviv. So the first one's going to be, I think, just an important point. I think we talked about, you guys may have touched on this earlier. I just think it's really important in terms of what we see in Manhattanville and also maybe what we see going further, God willing. We talked about before this game how they were going to D up, right? We were talking about whether or not they were going to play their defense, let Porsic and Darab get theirs, or whether or not they were going to play, and they keyed, right? Ryan started the game on Porsic, right? And they told you right away, make everyone else play, and that worked to perfection. So it's great to see. And Ryan his offense didn't suffer because of it. So that was really, I think that's the first point. I think the last point I have, which is the most important really of the games and maybe of the season, is Poppers just paid off his bet. And that's the most important thing.
Oh, breaking news on the Ball Habatim.
I sort of dragged him over to Burgers and Grill, got myself a crispy chicken, and that's really what it's about.
Got the Max Bastin together.
You want in, Aryeh? Aryeh says hi.
Let's do it, baby. Oh, unbelievable. So, listen, as a couple of things, Hever, before we wrap up. No, first of all, as the mighty Mayor Mizell on ones and twos always tells me to tell you, like and subscribe to the Ball Habatim on YouTube. We just passed 100 subscribers. You can help get us to 200. In addition, we're now straight up Web3, baby, because we have a Discord server now that you can join and be a part of. Number one, it will be in the link in the video description. Number two, it is the pinned tweet for on Simi's Twitter, the other and better half of the Bandwagon Boys. So please follow Simi on Twitter. He is an awesome, unbelievable follow. You won't regret it.
It's the Ball Habatim's pin tweet.
Ball Habatim. Well, follow
So
Simi
you can
anyway.
follow me too.
Follow Simi anyway. It's the Ball Habatim's pin tweet. Join our Discord channel. All the cool kids are doing it. It is awesome. It's a lot of fun, and we all have a good time. Gentlemen, this is a fun one. Sunday, 1:00 p.m. at the MSEC Chazei Hashem. Manhattanville is coming to town. Please God, we're gonna take care of business. And as we come off a pretty fun, exciting Ryan Terrell, Gabe Leifer, Jordan Armstrong. I mean, Ofek, every single one. As we came off just a great collective team performance, I think it is all too appropriate to sign off here with Roll Max Roll, because we're rocking. And please join us Sunday for the post game. Come hell or high water. We're gonna be here breaking it down. It's gonna be really exciting. Chevra, let's go Max, baby.
It's championship game Sunday, right? And we're not taking anything for granted. I think, we may end up doing, for those who are willing, we may end up doing a preview show Saturday night to really dive into Manhattanville and really dive into what to look for. So that may be something that's coming as well, and that's it's well worth it, right? Nothing for granted. Watching this team take 40 minutes. Manhattanville, though, is coming out of 10 out of the last 11. They've won 10 of their last 11. That is a hot team that is coming to the MSAC, just coming off 2 nice wins, one against St. Joe's Long Island, who we know is tough, and a huge upset against Farmingdale. So we're ready for it. We're going to dive deep into it a little bit. Saturday night, may do a show. Check your local listings.
Let's do it, baby. Guys, amazing. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. This has been the Ball Habatim, breaking it down, baby. Roll Max Roll. Everybody have an amazing Shabbos.
Amazing Shabbos.
We'll see you Saturday night. We'll see you Sunday. Let's take care of business, boys.
Woo!
Roll Max Roll.